Hi guys, welcome to week 13. Sorry this video is getting out a little bit late, but I did want to make a video to go over what's happening, especially since next week is a holiday week, and so if you're in my Thursday class I won't even see you because we'll be celebrating Thanksgiving or celebrating some time to rest with family or wherever you are in the world at that time. So yeah, I'm just going to click on my Tuesday class. Since you guys are all on the same schedule. So this is what's happening. For those of you that missed this week or didn't notice it, the discussions from week 12 have been pushed into week 13 to give you a little bit more time. You know, there's a lot going on with the shootings and the fires and probably other things that you're experiencing in your own personal lives, and so I thought it would be smart for us to spend a little bit more time coming back to our responsibilities with school, and if giving you another week helps with that, then please take more time on it. So again, week 12 is still on there. Also on here is week 13. This is what's happening this week, so this video is going to kind of go over week 13. So I'm just going to click on, as usual, there's a chapter for They Say, I Say. In this case it's two, chapters 6 and 7. Super important chapters for you as a researcher, as a writer, as a person who's gathering research and formulating an argument. So I'm just going to read what's on here. It says chapter 6 deals with planting a naysayer or a devil's advocate in your writing to strengthen it. And chapter 7 addresses the so what and who cares factors. Whenever I read and I grade a research project, the question that's in my mind is so what? So what you've written about immigration, who cares? Right? Those two questions pop into my mind, and so it's important that you have addressed those for your reader. I am your reader evaluating your piece, and so you can write a really great piece, a really great, well-constructed essay, but if you don't address the so what and who cares, it kind of falls flat because it's lacking the little push that makes your reader invest him or herself in your ideas and your argument. So that's chapter 7. Chapter 6 is dealing with a naysayer or devil's advocate. And so oftentimes when we're researching, we like to exclude the voices that do not align with our own perspective or viewpoint. But real scholars, real intellectuals embrace all the different viewpoints on any given topic in any conversation and see the strengths and the weaknesses that are inherent in each different viewpoint. And so I'm asking you to make sure that you've looked at different viewpoints. So for example, if you're writing about abortion and you're writing about pro-life, for example, you're also going to want to include information about those who are pro-choice and what other views there are besides the polarized views of pro-life and pro-choice. So what are some of the grayer areas? So that's what chapter 6 is about. So as far as this discussion goes, I've also added the link to They Say, I Say again for your convenience. And then you're going to watch and read 3 interpretations of the chapters. And so I just found online different kind of summaries and different creative ways of looking at They Say, I Say chapters 6 and 7. So the first one that's opening now is a Prezi. And you guys have seen Prezis before. I'll just enlarge it. With a Prezi, you're just using your enter button or your space bar, and you're just going through it. So you can see here, chapter 6, planting a naysayer. So it's hard to take criticism as something you can use to your advantage. We're tempted to ignore critics of our own views. This chapter is asking you to embrace the criticism of your view because it actually strengthens what you have to say. And so that's what this chapter is looking at. So here's a template that goes over an opportunity or a way to use language to include a naysayer. So although some readers may object, I would reply that blank. So although some readers may object to the idea that pro-life is a valid viewpoint when it comes to the topic of abortion, I would reply that it is important to consider all perspectives, especially this one, as it will prevent a lot of problems down the road regarding women making choices to have an abortion, for example. So I'm just trying to fill that in so you can kind of listen and see how it sounds. But remember, you can use it with any topic. You could use it with pro-choice as well, or any of the viewpoints in between. So that is the Prezi. I'm not going to go over it. You can go over it if you are interested. Remember, the point of me giving you these links is to help kind of synthesize the information for you. So one, so you can kind of see it in a different format, and two, so it can sink down on a deeper level. Remember, part of your task with looking at these is to take good notes in your journal. You can list or cluster useful information that you can use in future writing. So you're not only using this for your research, but you're going to use it in your future academic writing. It's helpful, these kind of moves you're going to be making. The next one is a YouTube link. And I'm just going to turn on.
Planting the naysayer or addressing opposing viewpoints in your writing. The information from or in this lecture come from chapter 6 of They Say I Say. You are welcome to borrow a book and read the chapter if you would like more information.
Okay, so she's going over chapter 6 in about 7 minutes. So those of you that are auditory or even visual, this is a great opportunity for you to kind of listen and follow along in that way. So we have a Prezi, we have a YouTube, we have the actual text, and then the last one on here is Slide Player. I've never created anything on Slide Player, but it looks very similar to Prezi. So I'm just going to play it. We'll see if it has one of those creepy computer generated voices.
Hi, I'm Heather Brown.
After the ad, of course.
Renaults at DX.
CH7 says, so what? Who cares?
So what? Who cares? So we have some kind of accented computer program reading you, going through the slide player. So it's basically a PowerPoint presentation on chapter 7, So What? Who Cares? So you get the auditory and then you also get the visual. It's 3 minutes and 46 seconds. So that's a super quick review of the chapter. So again, use these different resources, and if you don't like these ones, you're welcome to Google or YouTube other sources that people have posted. They Say I Say has been used for quite some time, and so there's lots of different synthesis of the chapter. So find the one that works for you, take good notes. When you hop onto the discussion, you are going to post and reply to a classmate's post. You're going to tell us in a 5-paragraph post what you learned about So What and Who Cares, and what you learned about planting a naysayer, and if you'd like to include templates that you think you're going to try out in your research, then do that. So who's the naysayer in your research? What is the So What and Who Cares aspects of your research? And then be sure to reply to a classmate's post. So remember, in this discussion, you're getting theoretical information about formulating a solid argument. So this is dealing with rhetoric, how to convince your reader or persuade your reader to either listen to you or to adopt the viewpoint that you're trying to share. And then really figuring out, what that view is. What is your argument? What is your so what? You're talking about immigration or DACA or Dreamers or whatever you're talking about. So what? Who cares? So make sure you're addressing that. And then also, who's the naysayer in your conversation? So that's part of it for this discussion. It's a lot. Take your time. It should take you a good hour or so to do that. And that's an hour well spent, because it'll sink in on that more profound level for you, and you won't have to keep researching it because you'll know it. And you'll just keep knowing it more. So the other discussion is more of a workshop here. So what you're going to do is you're going to post a draft of your research essay so far. It should be 3 pages for full credit on the discussion. The workshop itself is worth 50 points, 35 points for posting a draft, and 15 points for responding to a classmate's draft. Please take your time. So you're going to post your draft here. You can cut and paste it when you click on reply. You can also attach it. And then you're going to give someone else feedback. So some of you are missing that with the discussion, so you're getting marked down points. Remember, this is a simulated conversation, which is why it's under discussions. So you want to give feedback. That's how you create a discussion online, is by talking to one another. And it's awesome to get feedback from someone on a draft of ideas, because you are going to be able to have someone see something that you might not see. If you're struggling with something specific, you can let your readers know that in your little text box. But as you're giving feedback, you're going to look at the rubric of how I'm grading it. I'm looking for these things. So we know it's just a draft of 3 pages. Your final draft has to be 6 to 8 full pages. And so as you're about halfway there at this point, remember, I'm looking for 7 sources. I will make another video that goes over the databases for those of you that are interested in watching that. But for this discussion, you're workshopping your pieces. So remember, it's super important to outline or start that process so you're not waiting until the last minute, so you can get really good feedback. So again, that's week 13 in a nutshell. Don't forget that week 12 is still open if you need a little bit more time. And then importantly, there's a link here for meditation. So many of us are stressed out or feeling overwhelmed, and meditation is always going to help with that. So come back to UCLA Mindfulness Center here. There's different meditations that are free, and there's also meditaciones en español, meditations in Spanish. If you're interested, you can share that information with other people. I mentioned before in class, I've used it probably at least once in our class, if not more. My absolute favorite app for meditation is Insight Timer. I use it on my iPhone, and it's awesome. There's lots of guided meditations, so please take time to de-stress, to breathe, and figure out what your needs are. Eat well, get rest, breathe, and research. Have a really great week.